This video is about the strongest team for the three new royal heroes in Season 5. So first we have Aphrodite, and I think this is the best team. So one thing to note this compared to the traditional Avengers team is we don't have Janna. So Janna, in my opinion, actually has anti-synergy with Aphrodite because she will summon the stranger creature with uh, onto the extra slot in the battlefield. So like now in this game there's the extra slot, and if you have units that can summon creature at round start, they will be summoned onto this extra slot. However, Aphrodite actually need this extra slot to be empty so that in the case where all your units are surviving, she can like apply phantom illusion on enemy and charm the enemy onto the extra slot. But if this extra slot has the unit, then the enemy won't be able to be get charmed to the extra slot, and they will stay where they are, and that's really bad. So when I'm using this team against the enemy team who also has Aphrodite, but like they are playing Janna, that could make the difference. So like when my Aphrodite casts ultimate, I can charm one of their unit, but they cannot charm my unit because their slots are full. So yeah, it's not that the most big deal thing ever, but like it's better to not include Janna. And so another thing is Mavis is obviously really good because she can like deal damage to all enemy when she dies. So like if the enemy has like high burst team or they are like doomsdayer, your Mavis will counter attack, and that's that make your team really safe because like even if the enemy is like they are faster and they have deal a lot of damage, you can still counter attack. And like even if they crowd control your Aphrodite, like your Mavis is like counter attack when she dies will do a lot of damage. And Althea, like she is important because mm, she can make your team instantly revive, which is also important because otherwise there's a chance that they will like all your units are in the reviving state, and you will like lose immediately. Yeah, I have a video about that too. So yeah, Althea is important. Also, so there's like two healers in the Avengers team. One is Lachesis, the other is Persephone. So usually people play Lachesis. Like before Aphrodite was released, they play Lachesis and Althea for their ability to activate the two celestial synergy. But now since we have Aphrodite, we already have the two celestial synergy, then we don't need Lachesis anymore. And she has an ability to like purify, dispel all buffs from enemies. But since we already have the two celestial, that can happen whenever your units die. So we don't need the Lachesis anymore. And Persephone, this hero is actually really strong uh, with Mavis. So her ultimate will heal all your units, and she will also grant fortitude to the target with the lowest HP for one round. So this is not that great because it's just one round and it's just one target, your target with lowest HP. But if you have Mavis, when Mavis is deployed, the number of targets affected by Fortitude effect from Persephone's ultimate increase by one, and the duration is extended to 2 rounds, which means that Persephone, if she's deployed with Mavis, she will apply Fortitude for 2 rounds for two targets. So this is also reason why I'm putting Persephone and Aphrodite in the front two row, because they are the most important unit. Well, they are the most important unit to keep alive, and so and Persephone's fortitude effect will prioritize units that in the front line. So it says like prioritize lowest HP, but what it does is it prioritizes lowest percentage HP. What tends to happen is when Persephone casts her ultimate, there's a high chance that all your units are at full health. So that means in that case, Persephone will prioritize the units in frontline. So that's why I'm putting Persephone and Aphrodite in frontline, because that will make sure that they get prioritized. So like the most dangerous place is actually the safest place. Yeah. So we put the important unit in frontline. So in the past, we also put uh, the other important unit. Like before Aphrodite, we actually put Jenna in frontline. Yeah, but then now we don't play Jenna anymore. Yeah. So that's Persephone. And another reason why I'm putting Persephone in the front line is that I have her exclusive room, which is whenever she successfully dodges, she can randomly apply dodge to two enemies for one round. Yeah, so that's also like the reason I'm putting her in front line, because she will trigger dodge more often. So another thing, so the last slot is Albert. So the last spot is actually flexible. You can pretty much do any units, but the reason I like Albert is because he's like one of the less useful units in Avengers, and if you use Albert here, you can place the rest of the units in another Avengers team, and having two Avengers team is really good, because in the World Arena game mode you will need like 9 teams in total at the highest level. So and that means that you want to have more teams, and it's especially good if you can like sacrifice one team's power only a tiny little bit, and then you can form a new team. And this team, I think, is not the worth thing for using the rest of the units. Yeah, because we have Jenna constantly summoning the stranger, and whenever your units die, Jenna will gain power, and Narisa will cast her ultimate up to 3 times per round. And we also have Celine and the Arcadina and Lachesis for clearing their buffs. Yeah, so for back to this team, Albert can increase the skill damage of your team. So with this passive effect, and this will increase Mavis's damage upon death. So I think someone confirmed this. Yeah, I remember that. And it will also increase Aphrodite's effect when she casts her ultimate. So yeah, so this is really good, and it also activates the 3 monarch synergy, which is a nice bonus. So it prevents your units from taking damage exceeding 60% of their max health in a single instance. So it kind of gives your units 1 extra lives again, because your Avengers is already providing revive effect, and then like monarch synergy can also let them revive too. Also, like here, they're restoring 60% of their max health, but like this will be more, because your team will have cure rate as well as heal rate increase from various sources. So your team will be reviving for more than 60% of their max health, which means that the monarch synergy will make sure that they they have to take at least 2 instances of damage before they die again. So yeah, this is pretty good. So that's the team for Aphrodite. And yeah, it can allow you to make two Avengers team with the addition of Aphrodite. And next we have Wu Zetian. Her best team is like this. So it says 3 monarch here, but that's because my uh, Eldery isn't 8 star yet, so she haven't unlocked her monarch synergy. But so I never use this team, but I play against it a lot, and it's pretty good, especially if you have Cleopatra. But if you don't have Cleopatra or you don't want to use her in this team, because she can fit into any team with her synergy of adaptive room synergy. And if you don't want to use Cleopatra, you can use Telenas, and that will still give you the same synergy. And so she will be a little bit weaker, but than Cleopatra. But the synergy is the same, and you can use Cleopatra elsewhere. So yeah, this is a Monarch Glorian team, and yeah, so this team, well, the good thing about this team is that it it doesn't subject to the crowd control effect. So your units can be stunned for like 12 rounds, I believe. So it's like the glory 5 Glorian is 8 rounds, and the seasonal Glorian synergy will extend it for 4 rounds. Yeah. So your teams can't be CC'd. And also your team has really strong survivability because you have 4 monarch, and she's also granting you uh like chance to reduce damage, like 75% chance to reduce damage. And on round two, she can charm an enemy, and the enemy will actually take damage for your team. So yeah, that's this team. So this is the best team for Wu Zetian. And for Hades is in Valiant team, and the key units are these. So these are the units that are the most important. Uh, the last unit, ideally, it should be Victoria with her legendary exclusive room active. So her legendary exclusive room will apply a bind to enemies with 100% chance to apply bind to 2 random enemy targets for 2 rounds, and that applies every round. So this is a really good effect, especially when your Hades is already removing, like devouring one of their units, and your Victoria is can like also like bind 2 of their units. So the enemy is already like only has 2 units left, and so this team is pretty good if you have the ideal scenarios. But like if you don't have Victoria, so you can consider using Nyx if you have her exclusive room, or you can use Macaria as well, or you can just use Victoria without the bind exclusive room because she's a celestial. So another thing is you can play some unit outside of the synergy because, as you can see, the Glorian team doesn't have is not using Seraphina. So Seraphina is also a really good unit. So you can use Seraphina here, and that will reduce your Valianter to 4 piece, but it's fine. Uh, because it doesn't matter as much because you still get a lot of damage boost, like 100% and 150%. It doesn't really matter, and Seraphina can help your team to survive a bit longer and provide healing. Yeah. So another thing about this team is that you don't need to have Valiant activate the Valiant relic synergy. So you don't have to use the Valiant relics because what Valiant Relic does is if you have like three Valiant Relics, uh, you will have the activate the relic synergy, which allow you execute enemies less than 20% HP. But your Hades is already giving you the ability to execute enemies below 35 HP. So it's already better than the relic synergy. And this effect doesn't add up. So it doesn't mean that now you can execute enemies with under 55% HP. That would be broken. So it doesn't add up. So you don't have to use the Valiant Relic synergy. And it's actually a really good thing because the Valiant Relics actually doesn't scale really well with the Valiant synergy. So, like some of them. So here's my example. So the most common Valiant relics are like the this and the bow. Where's the bow? Yeah, the plague bow. So this relic has synergy with corrode. So it's a pretty good like relic in general, but it mostly has synergy with corrode. And yeah, it has synergy with corrode. So it's better to use this in the Mystifier team. And this relic is the one I want to talk about the most. So first, it has a chance to double cast once you have where is it? Yeah, the first use consume 50% less energy. When the enemy have 15 stacks of debuff, the relic has 100% chance to be cast again. But Valianter doesn't apply a lot of debuffs to enemies, so this won't trigger. Another thing is, just like Persephone, it applies Holy Shield to lowest health ally and it prioritizes frontline units. But if you are playing Elmer, you want your frontline to be Elmer. So you want Elmer to be at your frontline. And that means the Plague Bowl will actually target Elmer first. But Elmer, since he cannot die, it doesn't he doesn't need the Holy Shield. Yeah. Elmer holds his ground and won't die as long as at least one ally is alive. Yeah. So like half of your uh, Plague Bowl's effect will be wasted on Elmer. So that's why it sort of has this anti-synergy with Valianter. But in the past, we want the execute effect so that we still play them. But now we don't need to play Valianter synergy relic anymore. And another is for the Knight's Edge. And after casting Knight's Edge, it increased the leech rate of all allies by 10% for 2 rounds. And the and it is also buff Overheal. So these are just effects that synergize with unit with Overheal effect, and none of the Valianter units we know have Overheal effect. So like the best unit who with the Overheal effect is Catherine, and she when Catherine receives healing, she will also heal allies for excess healing will be converted to attack. Yeah. So with Hades, you actually don't need the Valianter relics. You can use the relic from other synergy and it will still be good. Yeah, so that's the best team for Hades.